Hey girl, hey, welcome back to My Obsessive Confessions. My name is Tigre and this is my channel. As you can already tell by the title of this video, which I'm not really sure what I'm going to be naming this, but essentially I'm going to be doing a talk through tutorial of my go-to makeup look, which is the one that I'm currently wearing now. Some new techniques that I have been trying out. So yeah, this is just the makeup look that I have been going to for the last couple months, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So yeah, I know it's going to be a long one since it is a talk through, so definitely go ahead and grab a snack. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, and let's go ahead and just jump right into it. If you hear any noises in the background, it's landscaping. I guess they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of far away from me, so I'm hoping you can't hear it, but it is kind of loud, so I'm sorry if you do hear it. I apologize. For my go-to look, it's definitely about the base products, and this has definitely been, I feel like my secret weapon, my go-to product. It makes everything on top of it look amazing, and it's the Cover FX Gripping Plus Firming Primer. I love this, you guys, and I mix in a lot of different stuff with it. But this is always the constant in my base recently, ever since I got it. So it's been over a month that I've been using it. And like I said, everything on top of this looks phenomenal with this primer. So I haven't tried the Milk Makeup Blur, that primer that everybody's talking about, but I know that it's kind of similar to that one. But I really love this one. So it comes out, I don't know if you can see that, really clear. You don't need a lot. It's very a sticky base. And then another primer that I have been loving, especially because I like glowy skin. I don't really like matte skin. That's not my thing right now. And it's the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. Love this as well. You can use this with or without makeup. And I just take one pump of that and I mix it in with this. And then just press them both into the skin. And I'm telling you, you guys, this is what does. I feel like this is the secret weapon, is this primer concoction, specifically that primer. And then for my pore areas, I have been going in with the Tatcha, the Silk Canvas Primer. Mainly, this is just a small one, mainly just to finish this product off. I mean, I do like it. I don't know if I would ever purchase the full size. It's not a bad product. It's not my favorite, is kind of what I'm trying to say. But I do like to target it right in the areas where my pores are the largest. So around my nose and right here. And it plays well with this primer. My Tarte Shape Tape, or Tarte Shape Tape, my Tarte Smoothing Primer doesn't play as well with this as this one does. So that's another reason why I had started using the Tatcha. You do have to be careful with this gripping primer. It doesn't mix with a lot of primers. And then for my skin, I have been going back and forth between the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Foundation, which is in the shade Malawi, and the Uoma Beauty Foundation Say What Weightless Soft Matte Hydrating Foundation in the shade T2N. I'm going to use the Uoma Beauty today, but I have been loving both of these ever since I got them. And I first put them on with a brush, and then I go over it with a sponge. So you'll be able to see that process. And I do wet the brush just a little bit with some Fix Plus. And I am using the NYX brush. I think it's called the Buffing, Multi-Purpose Buffing Brush. And I put about 2 pumps on here. And just start from the middle and work my way out. And if you guys have seen, I did use this before, this foundation. It does go on really orange, and it does settle into being like a beautiful color for me. And I just like to start pretty small with the foundation, or like less is more, and then build up on that. Especially considering the most foundation, or the most blemishes I have are towards the middle of my face. That's where I like to concentrate the foundation. And just make sure to bring it all the way down your neck, especially if it's not a good color. This is a good color, so I don't have to go too crazy on the neck. But if it's not a good color and you're trying to pass it off, you definitely want to make sure you don't forget your neck and your ears. And for me, I don't want to go in with a lot of foundation at all. I don't like, that's why I really like the Aya Magic foundation, because it's like super full coverage off the bat. So this is definitely a good option. But the Uoma Beauty, I feel like feels better on the skin, and it's a really good color match for me, and it just feels and looks like skin. Whereas the Juvia's Place is kind of, it's really full coverage, so it does look like skin, but it looks like flawless, perfected skin, which some days you want like some of your imperfections to come through because it just looks more natural. So it's really just a preference and how you're feeling that day. And like I said, I do go over it. I'm just dampening my sponge with some Fix Plus. You don't want it too wet. And I just like to go over my whole face with my sponge and just press everything into the skin. And I'm telling you, this has made such a difference, especially if you have a full foundation, like coverage foundation, because it takes off any excess while also pushing it into the skin to seem more seamless. Alright, and then once that is all done, that is when I would go in with my concealer. I do like other concealers. The Uoma Beauty one is a good one. The Milani one I really like, but I always just fall back on this one. This is just like my tried and true, and when I know I want my makeup to come out like flawless, I always go back to this. And this is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, of course in the shade Chestnut. There's just nothing like it. And I feel like no matter how much or how little you put, it still blends out seamlessly. And I do let it sit for just a little second, especially underneath the eyes, and then blend this out with a beauty blender. I do like to start from the bottom and work my way up towards the eye. I find that when you do it that way, the most product ends up towards the bottom, so that keeps it from creasing as well. I don't really have a problem with creasing with this this concealer, but if you have a concealer that you have creasing with, try that trick. Start from the bottom and then work your way up when blending. and that does help a lot. But you guys, this concealer, like, you can just see how seamless this concealer is. So I did go ahead and exchange the large full size Fenty for the travel size. It's still the shade Honey. I just didn't need that full size one. I'm never gonna use that whole thing up before it's like expired. I have a lot of other powders that I go back and forth between, so just wanted to show you guys that. Now, as far as setting the under eye, this is probably the biggest difference I've been doing ever since I got this brush. And this is the number 42 Sephora Pro brush. I saw on a Sephora like review that was left for this brush, somebody had said that they use this for their under eyes, and I was like, you know, I had got it because I was getting it intentionally for like use in the eyes. It's really long though. Once I got it, I didn't realize how long it was. So once I got it in the mail, that comment, I remembered that comment that someone had left, and I decided to give it a try, and it has been a game changer ever since. So shout out to whoever left that comment on the Sephora review section. That this has definitely changed my like life as far as like my under eyes, especially when using this Fenty powder because it is kind of drying. So of course you want to make sure that you get all the creases out, and I just dip just a little bit into the Fenty powder, and if there's a lot on there, I tap off the excess into the cap, because you don't want a lot on there. You just want enough to set it. And again, make sure there's no creases because you don't want to set any creases. And then I just tap that right into the corner. And I tap very softly, but I concentrate this right in the corner where mine, and underneath the eye where it tends to crease the most. And you can go in with a little bit more. What you're essentially doing is taking little by little product and just tapping it into the skin right around the eye, like in this area, because this is where you want it to look flawless, but also you don't want it to crease. And I just bring it down by the nose. So wherever that you set, wherever you put concealer. And just look at this under eye. It's flawless. It's as if you didn't set it at all, but it's set. If you want to, you can go in with and bake after doing this, but I don't do that just because I'm not really into the baking thing right now. But this has definitely been a game changer for me. I don't think you need to have this brush particularly, but any precise brush is definitely going to do the trick. I only work out of what's left in the cap after dipping into it per side, just because you don't want a lot of powder. You just want enough to set the area. That you have put concealer down. And then I'll go on my chin. And on my forehead. This is also a good way to touch up, not necessarily with a loose powder, but with any type of powder. Just use a precise brush. All right, and then to set the rest of the face, I'm still going in with my favorite Sephora Micro Smooth powder and just kind of using a big fluffy brush. This is the Sephora 91 brush, and I'm just setting the whole face. And I like to just press it into the skin. I feel like that sets it the most. And I love this powder because it does not give you too much powder. Like I said, my whole thing with this everyday look or go-to look is less powder, but enough to just keep it on there and keep, you know, my makeup from moving around. That's what the primer does as well, because I love glowy, healthy looking skin. I feel like the more powder, the more cakey it can look, as well as the more like fake it can look. It doesn't look like skin. So essentially I'm just pushing it into the skin. Alright, and then this is essentially my base. It just looks so healthy and good. I hope that it's coming across on the camera because it looks like flawless, but still it feels and looks like skin. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and while I just let the skin sit for a little bit, I am going to go onto my eyes. Now this is not something that's like an everyday thing. This is definitely interchangeable. I don't always do this, but I recently picked up my first Pat McGrath palette. This one is in the shade this was one of the 6-pan ones, and this is in Bronze Ambition. And I also got V and Rose. These actually went on sale for 50% off, and in the last couple videos this is what has been on my eyes, and I have just been loving it. And this is what, let me take this off. The shades come on this. I'm sure you've seen this plenty times on YouTube. It's nothing new, but it's just new to me. And this is what the shades look like. So I'm going to go in with my Too Faced concealer just to use as a base on my eyes. Same one that I put underneath the eyes. And this is just a Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush to go ahead and blend that out. Typically I do eyes before skin, but because this look, you'll see, is just so like effortless, you could do this. Usually I don't even, before I had this palette and before I've just been obsessed with it, what I would typically do is just go in with a bronzer in the crease and then a bronzy shade on the lid. And that's essentially what I'm doing with this palette as well. So I don't really have to worry too much about like any fallout because I already know how these shadows perform. But you know, if I was doing any intricate eye or anything like that, I would always do my shadow first. That's just how I operate. Alright, I'm just taking a fluffy brush. This is the Sephora number 10 brush. And I'm going in with this matte shade right there and putting that all over my crease. And this shade is kind of like the same color as my skin tone, just a little bit deeper, so it acts as like a perfect base slash crease shade, and it builds up really nicely. But like I said, you can do this with just whatever bronzer you're using and any bronzy shade on the lid. And that's literally like my go-to. I really want to do a video on like my favorite go-to bronzy shades, like toppers for the lid. Let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in, especially considering it's summertime. That's like my go-to look. So I'm probably gonna end up doing it anyways, but I just want to know if that's something that you guys will be interested in. Let me know down below. And I'm taking this shade all the way from inner corner to outer corner, because I just want this to be kind of like the main thing in the crease. And then I'm also going to take that same shade on the lower lash line, just with a smaller like dome brush. Just connect it with the upper shadow. And then you can kind of go in, like I said, with any shade. I'm going to go in with this one right here in the middle. It's like the bronziest shade. And I'm just going to use my finger and put this all over the lid. And these shadows, these Pat McGrath shadows, like I said, this is my first time working with them. Not this video, but the first time since I've had this palette. They blend and pay off, like the color payoff is the same on a brush as it is with your finger. But this is just kind of like my go-to. I'm just so used to working with my finger. And then I want to go in with a more precise, this is like a tapered brush, to blend out any harsh edges, because I just want it to look seamless. Just look really seamless. And then on my lash line, I like to go in with just a brown pencil. Any brown pencil will work. I'm using MAC's Costa Riche. So like I said, I'm using MAC's Costa Riche, and I like to just take this right by my lash line. Just to give it some definition. And then I'll go in with a pencil brush and just smudge that out. And I'll take a little bit of this shade right here and use it to smudge it out. Like I said, I'm just sticking right to the lash line. It just gives it more of a smoky effect, as well as makes your lashes look fuller. Alright, and that's it for the eyes for right now. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the brows. And I'm just going to quickly do this off camera, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my brows are pretty much done. Just to amp up the bronziness even more, I'm going to go in with this shade right here on the inner corner, as well as the brow bone. and really like just the arch of the brow bone. And then make sure to blend it out with the same blending brush I used earlier. You can even go in with your finger, just blend that out. The shades are just so good. All right, and that's kind of it for the eyes. Go ahead and set my brows with my 24-hour brow setter, which you guys, I love so much. All right, and then for bronzer, you guys know how much I have been loving the Morphe Phenom bronzer. So I'm gonna go in with that first. And this is a new favorite, and I don't know, it's like near and dear to my heart at this point. And this is the Sonia G Face Pro brush. This is what I have been using for bronzer, and it is just phenomenal. It's such a soft brush, so well made, very pricey, but it is just perfect. Like, just look at how perfectly it aligns with my face. I feel like it was like made for my face. I haven't done a favorites in a long time, but this is definitely a video where you'll see a lot of my favorites, because these are just the products that I've just been using over and over again recently. I love this bronzer. I love the tone of this bronzer the most. That's really what like I love about it, is the tone. Alright, and then just to go over that a little bit, just because I love, like I said, I'm playing up the bronzy glowy thing, I'm going to go over that with the Endless bronzer, Endless Summer bronzer in the Butter bronzer. And this just has like a little bit of a sheen to it, and it also is kind of like a reddish tinge. So just a little bit. Nothing crazy. Just love what it does for my skin. Yeah, so it just gives it like a little bit of a reddish tinge. It's just, ooh, beautiful. I love it, love it, love it, love it so much. Love it, love it, love it so much. And then for blush, I haven't had like any particular favorite blush recently, but I have been going for this same tone of blush, and I really love this one. And this is the e.l.f. blush in Always Spicy. I really love this blush, so that is what I'm going to use. I kind of just go for anything that's going to amp up that like bronze look. That could, I like those blushes that can kind of double as a bronzer. And this is definitely one of those. And then from here, this is definitely where I am going to go in with some more Fix Plus and kind of just settle everything down. And then I also am going to go in with the clean side of my beauty blender and just press it in to the skin. And I feel like this does a world of a difference in just making everything just seamless. Alright, and I'm going to go ahead and add highlight, and my go-to highlight recently has been the ColourPop Dr. Facilier Meet Me on the Other Side Super Shock Highlighter. You guys, this is so beautiful. This is what it looks like. I have just been loving this so much. It's like a peachy gold. Oh my goodness. I love it. And I love how it comes in this, like usually it's in the little pot size. I don't know like how they changed the formula or what they did to allow it to be in like a pan size, but it is beautiful. And I love just using my fingers and putting this on. Like, look at that, you guys. It's so beautiful. And of course, I'm still gonna go over it with a beauty blender. But it's just so pretty. Woo. And also right on my nose, down the bridge of my nose. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful highlight. I love it so, so, so much. And then for my lashes, I'm going to go in with the Pat McGrath Labs Fetish Eyes. Usually, I think on the last couple of videos I had lashes on. But to be honest with you, I just don't feel like it. On a day-to-day basis, I don't wear lashes. So I figured I wouldn't in this tutorial as well. I love this mascara so, so much. I don't think it's particularly long wearing though, but I do love it a lot. Love what it does for my lashes. And I have two of these like small size ones, travel size ones. I love it. And on my lower lashes, I'm gonna go in with my Essence Princess or Lash Princess mascara. And then just to brighten up my eyes, I do like to go in with like a nude waterline. Before I was just using whatever I could find. I think it was like a NYX Wonder Pencil. But I recently picked up the Milk Makeup Longwear Eye Gel in the shade BCC. So it's like a nude color. And so let's go ahead and try this one out. I think I've heard Mel Thompson here on YouTube talk about these. So let's see if it's any good. I don't know how I feel about that one per se. I feel like I'm having a hard time finding eyeliner, especially nude eyeliners that fit my skin tone as well as will work on my waterline. I don't know. And then the final step, of course, is a lip. And my go-to combination has been this ColourPop times Shayla BFF4. I love this so much, you guys. And also this is the Hourglass new lip glosses. This one's in the shade Sublime. I have really been loving these and I definitely want to pick up some of those. But really just any nude will work. I'm really into gloss. Alright, so this is the final look. I did go over the lip with another one of my favorites, all-time favorites, is the Color Reshine lipstick in number 902 Dazzling Dough. Just because this Sublime lip gloss, while I love the color, it is just a little bit too pink for the look that I'm going for right now. So I wanted something a little bit more neutral, and this is just like a great blanking out type of like nude. So I've talked about this before. Love, love, love this. So yeah, this is the final look. This is kind of, like I said, my go-to. It's really, the focus is the skin, and I'm glad that I was able to kind of show not only some of my favorite current products, but as well as some new techniques that I have been using the last month or so. So yeah, I do hope that this was informative, as well as that you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more talk through tutorials kind of like this one, definitely give this a thumbs up so I know that you enjoy it, as well as any video recommendations. Definitely let me know down below. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys, bye.